Saturday. Even with the added space we got from the boat, the minivan was still pretty full. I stuck my pillow on board at the last second because I decided I was entitled to at least one luxury item. I figured Roderick would want to sit in the back of the van because whenever we go anywhere as a family, he likes to stretch out and take a nap. Every once in a while, we'll forget Roderick is even back there. This Easter, we made it halfway through the church before Mom realized Roderick never made it out of the van. Back when we had a station wagon, me and Roderick used to sit in the way back together, in a seat that faced the rear window. But we got in big trouble when we played a practical joke on Mom and Dad. That ended up getting us pulled over by the police. When we got in the van today, Roderick offered me the back seat. I accepted before he could change his mind, but I should have known his offer was too good to be true. Before we pulled out of the driveway, Mom said we were taking a special guest along for the ride. For a second, I was worried we were picking someone else up, because with all the stuff in our van, they'd have to sit on the roof. But Mom opened her purse and pulled out a piece of paper with a drawing on it. The drawing was Flat Stanley, a character from a book I read in 2nd grade. Flat Stanley is a boy who gets squashed by a bulletin board that falls off his bedroom wall in the middle of the night. But when they pull the bulletin board off him, he's as thin as a piece of paper. I thought it was pretty cool that Flat Stanley could fold himself up and get mail to his grandma's or have his brother fly him like a kite. But I'll tell you this, if Flat Stanley had a brother like Roderick, I guarantee he wouldn't survive the whole day. I really liked the book, but it kind of freaked me out too. One thing it did was give me a deathly fear of bulletin boards. Are you sure you don't want the bed? It's a lot more comfy. That's okay, you take it. In 2nd grade, everyone in my class had to color in a cutout of Flat Stanley and mail him to a friend or relative who lived far away. Then that person was supposed to take a picture of Flat Stanley in front of something interesting and mail him back with the photo. My friend Rowley sent Flat Stanley to a bunch of his relatives and got lots of cool pictures back. Rowley even sent him to his uncle who lives in Asia, and he took a picture of Flat Stanley in front of the Great Wall of China. Well, the first person Mom sent my Flat Stanley to was her cousin Stacy, who lives out in Seattle, but she probably wasn't the best choice. Stacy is one of those people who hoard all sorts of stuff like newspapers and magazines, so Mom should have known that once her cousin got her hands on Flat Stanley, he wasn't coming back. Today, Mom said she was going to take photos of our new Flat Stanley in front of all of the cool places we visit and then make a scrapbook of our trip. And as soon as we got on the highway, she started snapping pictures. But she was probably a little too eager because her first few pictures weren't exactly keepers. When Mom wasn't taking pictures, Flat Stanley was taped to the front air conditioning vent. All I can say is he was having a lot better ride than I was. The windows in the back of the van didn't open, and the vents were blocked by all our luggage, so I wasn't getting any cold air. What made me even more uncomfortable was the fact that Mom was in control of the trip. Mom always tries to make things about education. I knew she was going to turn this experience into one long lesson. She's been doing that ever since I was little. I remember when I got scratched by Grandma's cat, Mom tried to turn it into a teaching moment. C-A-T, cat. Sure enough, a half hour into the trip, Mom started in with the educational stuff. She had borrowed a bunch of CDs from the library that teach Spanish and said we'd use the long stretches on the road to learn a new language as a family. Hola, learn to speak Spanish fluently. Mom's always saying that learning a foreign language is the best thing you can do for your brain. That might be true, but I think she should leave the actual teaching to the schools. Mom decided it would be a good idea to expose me to a foreign language early on, so when I was in 1st grade, she would put the Spanish-speaking channels on TV while we ate breakfast. Mom would repeat whatever they said on the television, but when she said the words, it came out a bit different. Tango hamburger. Tango hamburgers. I ended up learning all sorts of phrases that weren't right. For example, the way you're supposed to say what's your name in Spanish is como te llamas. Well, I know that now because I learned it in my middle school Spanish class. But when I was little, Mom taught me that what's your name in Spanish is Te amo, which actually means I love you. I just wish I had known that before I said it to a million different people. Te amo, te amo. Today, Mom played the first two Spanish CDs, but she got frustrated that no one seemed to be paying attention. So she switched gears and said we were going to play a card game she read about in her magazine. The game was called Alphabet Groceries, and you play it like this. The first player has to name an item you can get at the grocery store that starts with the letter A. The next person has to come up with an item that starts with B, and so on. If a player can't come up with an item that starts with their letter, they're out of the game. Mom said I should go first, so I said apple, which I guess was kind of an obvious choice. Roderick was up next, but he said he couldn't come up with any food that started with B. I'm pretty sure he was lying to get out of having to play the game, but with Roderick, you never know. When Roderick got knocked out, the turn went right to Manny, who came up with his word right away. Bapple! Mom started clapping, but I pointed out that Bapple isn't a real word. She said Manny is just learning the alphabet and that we all need to encourage him. I quit in protest, and from then on, it was only Manny, Mom, and Dad playing. I really wish my earplugs weren't buried under my duffel bag behind a pile of suitcases, because the next hour and a half was pretty painful. Sapple! Yay! All that talk of food was actually getting me kind of hungry, and when I saw a sign for a drive-thru place at the next exit, I asked Mom if we could pull over. But Mom said we wouldn't be stopping at any of those kinds of restaurants because they didn't serve real food. She said fast food places lure kids in with cheap plastic toys to trick them into eating sugar and fat, and we weren't going to fall into that trap. Mom said she had a much better alternative and handed me a lunch bag with my name on it. Mom said she got the mommy meal idea from Family Frolic, which I guess should not have come as a surprise. Inside the bag was a tuna fish sandwich, an orange, and a little carton of milk, plus something wrapped in tinfoil. Mom said I had to eat my fruits before I unwrapped the tinfoil, because that was my prize. But I wish I had just opened it right away, because I wouldn't have eaten the whole orange if I'd known the prize was a pack of math flashcards. Roger got his flashcards in his lunch too, and we could both see where this was headed. So before Mom could turn the next hour of the trip into a tutoring lesson, I pulled out one of the games Mom had packed in the big tote bag. The game I grabbed was called I Must Confess, and when Mom saw it, she got so excited she forgot all about the flashcards. I read the rules, which were pretty simple. One person takes a card from the deck and reads it out loud to everyone else. I must confess, I've met a famous person. If one of the players has done the thing that's written on the card, they earn a point, and the first player to get 10 points wins. I was a little skeptical at first, but I have to admit, the game was actually kind of fun. I learned a lot of things about Mom and Dad I never knew before. I found out that Dad had a pet chameleon when he was a kid and that Mom dyed her hair blonde once, which really surprised me. Believe it or not, Roderick was even getting into the game. He got a point for being the only person who'd ever slept out overnight for tickets to a concert. And another point for getting a bug stuck in his ear, which I remember like was yesterday. Dad and Roderick were neck and neck with 9 points, and whoever scored next would win the game. Mom seemed really happy everyone was getting along and having fun. Then she pulled a new card out of the deck and read it. I must confess, I've toilet papered a neighbor's house. I'm pretty sure Mom thought no one was going to get a point on that card, because she was already reaching for the next one. But Roderick started acting like he had just won the lottery. I win! I win! Mom thought Roderick was lying to get a point, but he told her it was true. He said that a few months ago, he and his bandmates toilet papered Mrs. Tuttle's house next door after she called the police to complain they were making too much noise rehearsing. Mom thought the whole thing was pretty funny, but Mom didn't seem amused. Let me get this straight. You and 2 of your bandmates toilet papered an elderly woman's house? If I was Roderick, I would have just changed my story real quick and said I was just joking around to win the game. But Roderick didn't seize his chance to bail out. No, there were 4 of us. Mom had Dad pull over to the side of the road, then handed Roderick a phone and made him call Mrs. Tuttle to apologize, which was awkward for everyone in the car. I'm sorry for toilet papering, your house, ma'am. After that, it was quiet in the van for a long time. Mom was about to pop the next Spanish CD in the stereo, but luckily Manny had fallen asleep by then, so she couldn't.